Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Last time we stopped at the beginning of war in Lanka, and today we continue that Yudha Kandham with the time when Ravana enters the battlefield. When Ravana enters the battlefield, the whole scene changes because obviously the fight is going to be much more fierce, and also so many other characters are also coming into the battlefield. So in his 20 hands, he wielded different type of weapons, and his movement was like a movement of a mountain, blue in color, on wheels. Most of the warriors available in Lanka followed him, and a major initiative was going to happen in the battlefield. So Rama asked Vibhishana, who are those warriors? Give me an indication of what are they capable of, and who are they, and what are their prowesses. So I'm not going to detail all of them, but Vibhishana pointed out some of them. Oh, look at that Akampana. He is bright yellow, sitting on the elephant and carrying a bow and arrow. The guy who is on the chariot with the insignia of a lion is Ravana's son Indrajit, and so on and so forth. So many asuras, so many rakshasas were coming into the battlefield, and Rama took a resolve saying that I will kill that 10-headed rakshasa and quench my anger. Rama declared. And then Rama took his bows and arrows and started fighting the Rakshasas. And Lakshmana took Rama's permission to continue with to start the fight. And they both charged against the Rakshasas. And when Hanuman saw Ravana sitting on the chariot, he jumped onto the chariot and then started threatening him. And Ravana said, yeah, I know you because I know what you are capable of. So Hanuman said, you are the first one. To Hanuman, he said, you are the first one to show up in Lanka, and we let you go. That is the reason why you are back here. So I know what you are capable of, and I will also make sure that your end is in in Lanka. And Ravana beat Hanuman once, and that made him, fall unconscious. But he was rescued by Neela, and so many fight occurrences happened. And Lakshmana cut off Ravana's bow, and Ravana fell down. And also Rama was able to break his chariot, and Ravana stood there without his weapon. Immediately Rama went there and said, looks like you are too tired and upset. Go home and take rest for the day. I will give you another chance to fight with me. Come refreshed tomorrow, and we will continue our fight. So look at Rama's compassion. He didn't want to kill the guy who didn't have any weapon. He said, come back tomorrow, and then I will fight with you, and then do it properly. And Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, as Dr. Unikisan sir said, he was all for Dharma. And he said, now I'm going to call Kumbhakarna to continue the fight, because all my warriors are not that capable. So let me bring Kumbhakarna. But Kumbhakarna, as you know, has a problem, because he sleeps for 6 months, and then he had just started his sleep. So if you wake him up, he will he won't like it, and he will be outraged. But somehow Ravana convinced some of his orderlies to wake him up, and that's what they did. They used all kinds of methods to wake him up, pouring water into his ears and bringing all kinds of food material for him. So he woke up, and then he went to Ravana and said, I know what you want. I'm as a brother, I'm supposed to help you. But, make sure that you are doing the right thing, because you might have been advised by some of the bad advices, because you are going to fight with Rama, and Rama is none other than the Paramatma, and also you don't have a chance. You don't stand a chance against Rama. So desire is the root cause of all problems in the world. So he started doing a major sermon almost a Vedantic discourse given to Ravana. But at the end of it, hearing the wise words of Kumbhakarna, Ravana was outraged, and he said, I did not wake you up to get your sermon. You may go back and continue your sleep if you are not going to help me. But Kumbhakarna said, as a dutiful brother, I'm going to help you. And he jumped up with a roar and got ready to fight. And that roaring sound itself, that was too much for the vanaras, for the monkeys, and they started running hither and thither. And they said he's reaching the sky, and he looks like a moving mountain. And Vibhishana went and said, he's my elder brother, but he said terror even to devas. But then he is a very, very intelligent guy. But what Vibhishana did was he went and prostrated in front of Kumbhakarna and said, brother, I'm helpless. I have to support Rama, because I tried to give some proper advice to Ravana, but he wouldn't listen. Then Kumbhakarna blessed him and said, you continue to serve your master, who is Rama, and that is the right thing to do. But I am going to fight as part of Ravana's army. I am going to fight. So he picked up a huge mountain and attacked Rama, and it was stopped by Rama's arrows. And Rama used the Indrastram for that. And Rama cut off his legs, cut off his hands, and then Kumbhakarna's head fell at the gate of the city when Rama filled his mouth with a whole bunch of arrows at the same time. So Kumbhakarna was killed by Rama. And suddenly sage Narada came and started extolling the virtues of Rama, said, you have done the unbelievable work by killing Kumbhakarna, and your next duty is to kill Ravana. And then he was also giving a great stuti, and that Narada stuti is something which we can all chant as a stuti of a daily chant also. And what Narada was telling, may I be allowed to sing your glory and wander around in the world. And as long as your name is there, let me sing your glory. That's the only thing I want. Now, he said, you are destined to kill Ravana, and Lakshmana is destined to kill Meghnada or Indrajit. Then came Adhikaya, another son of Ravana, and then he was also killed in the fight. And they had to use Brahmastra to kill him. And then comes Indrajit, the elder son of Ravana. And Ravana is also, Indrajit also known as Ravani. And he was a great fighter. He could even win over Indra, and that's how he got the name Indrajit. And he was a very, very good warrior. And when the other brother of Indrajit, that is son of Ravana, was killed, Ravana started sobbing. So Indrajit came and said, he prostrated in front of his father and said, do not worry, I'm here. I will go and kill the two men and their Vanara army and make you happy. So I will kill your enemies, so do not be worried. So you can rest here in the palace. So before the fight, Indrajit went and sought advice from his guru, and he said, do a yajna, do a special ritualistic puja for Lord Maheswara, Lord Shiva, and then that will make you invincible. So that's what he did. He went and did a great ritual in the Gumbara, and after the yajna, he went to the battlefield and started shooting arrows at Vanaras, and then he was very successful in many, many things. And Vanaras, ran all around, and suddenly Indrajit was able to shoot Rama and Lakshmana successfully. Because of the ritualistic puja and the and the effect of the puja he had, the blessings of the puja he had, he was able to make these two great warriors unconscious, and then they were lying in the battlefield. And immediately what Indrajit did was he went and declared, we won won the battle for the day. And he started boasting in front of his father, and the Ravana was happy for the win for that particular day. And as he walked, he spotted Vibhishana, and then he said, Vibhishana, you are my uncle, but still you are working for the enemy. Again, since Lakshmana and Rama both were unconscious, Jambava and also so many Vanaras were lying in the battlefield. Some are some semi-conscious, some are dead. So Jambava walked around, and then he started looking for Hanuman. Where is Hanuman? Where is Hanuman? If he is alive, call me, because it was dark as well. So Jambavan went around and said, is Hanuman alive? So Sugriva asked, why are you asking for Hanuman? I have a great work for him, because Hanuman is the only one who can accomplish this. So Jambavan got hold of Hanuman, and he advised Hanuman, you must cross the ocean and pass several mountains, cities and villages, and reach the mountain in Himalayas. And in that Himalaya, you can find some special medicine. There are 4 types of medicines are there, and you have to bring those medicinal plants, and bring it here, so that we can wake these great men, Rama, Lakshmana, and also so many Vanaras who were fighting for the great cause. So the 4 names of the medicine, those are important: Vishal Karani, Santana Karani, Suvarna Karani, and Mrida Sanjeevani. So Hanuman got this advice from Jambavan, and then he started flying all the way, crossing the ocean and also crossing the continent of Bharat, and he reached the mountain on top of Himalayas. And as soon as Ravana heard about Hanuman going all the way to get this Mrida Sanjeevani, the special medicinal plant, he wanted to stop him. So what he did was very similar to what he did with Marichan. He had another confidant, he was a relative, Kalanemi. And he went to Kalanemi and said, I need your help for now. And Kalanemi also tried to tell him, do not get involved in Rama's affairs, because that is going to cause death for you and your clan. But then Ravana insisted, and Kalanemi was very good in disguise and magical trick, and he insisted, and Kalanemi decided, yeah, it is better to get killed by noble people rather than this wretched fellow Ravana. So he decided to go to the mountain, and in the mountain top he built an ashram, a very beautiful ashram, and he was the main sage of the ashram, he pretended. And when Hanuman came there, Hanuman could not distinguish between the particular herbs that are actually medicinal. So he was there, he wanted to take a drink of water, and then suddenly he saw this sage. Kalanemi was there as a sage, and he said, why don't you wait here and then take rest, and then maybe you can sleep, and then tomorrow you can take the medicine, and I will show you where the medicine is. And then his ploy was to stop him and also delay his mission. And when Kalanemi gave him a kamandalu or a flask full of water, he said, I'm so tired, I need much more water than this. So Kalanemi directed him to a stream, and in the stream he started drinking water, and suddenly a crocodile came up and then started attacking Hanuman. But then Hanuman, in one stretch, Hanuman was able to kill this crocodile. But immediately after the death of this crocodile, the crocodile turned into a celestial, and she said, I'm actually a celestial. I am here because of a curse. And then my redemption from the curse was when somebody like you, Vanara, comes and then hits me and then give me moksha, I will go back to my stage. But then now, guess what? That Kalanemi, that sage you met there, who gave you some water, he is actually Kalanemi. He is a Rakshasa and he needs to be killed. Otherwise, they will stop you from this particular mission. So, Hanuman went and talked to Kalanemi, and then without delay, he was also sent to Yama's abode. That means he was killed. So Hanuman went and searched for the medicinal plant, and suddenly he looked around and he could not find it. So in that outrage, he picked up the whole mountain and then held it in his one hand and started flying back to Lanka. And he reached Lanka, and as soon as the waft of the medicine came to Lanka in the battlefield where the Vanaras and Rama Lakshmana were lying down, as soon as the waft came in, they were awake and they regained consciousness. And then Rama asked Hanuman to take this mountain back where it was, and Hanuman flew back with the mountain and reinstalled the mountain back to in Himalayas. So all the Vanaras were enlivened, but the Rakshasa bodies were thrown into the sea, and that's why they were not redeemed, or they were not they didn't regain their life. Now Ravana came to know about this, and then Indrajit was also upset, and Indrajit said, I'm going to make a big trick on these people. So Indrajit was very good in magic trickery and also black magic. So what he did was he created a Maya Sita and cut her head off in front of the Vanaras. And Vanaras, and including Hanuman, saw this, and then they ran to Rama and said, Indrajit killed Maya Sita. Not Maya Sita, Sita, they said. But immediately after coming to know about this, Sugriva clapped his hands and said, these monkeys, they can do all kinds of, they don't know anything, because this Ravana's son Indrajit is so capable of doing all the magic, and then it is his magic, and Sita Devi cannot be killed by a Rakshasa. So Rama was again consoled, saying that we should be continuing the fight. Now comes the killing of Indrajit, and the Indrajit was destined to be killed by Lakshmana, and Lakshmana was about to kill him, but Indrajit wanted to do another yajna, but then he was not able to complete the yajna, the ritualistic puja. So Lakshmana was able to kill him using some specially blessed arrow, and then Indrajit was dead. And Ravana was wailing. He could not control his emotions, because his eldest son, his next in line for the kingdom, he was also dead. And the cause of Indrajit's death is Sita, and he said, I'm going to go to the garden where Sita is there, and Sita is the reason for all the deaths in my family, so I'm going to kill her. So he took his Chandrahasa, his special sword, and went to the garden and about to kill Sita. And then Suparsya, one of his ministers, said, "This is quite unbecoming of a great king like you. You don't kill woman, because killing a woman is a great sin, and also you are not supposed to do it, and you are a Vedajna, the person who has who is an erudite scholar of all the Vedas, and how come you have this kind of negative thoughts of killing a woman? That is so unbecoming of you. So Ravana returns back to his palace, and then he sought advice from Shukra. Shukra is the guru of Ravanas and Rakshasas, and Shukra said, go and do a great yajna, a ritualistic puja for yourself and for your country, and then if you are able to complete that yajna properly without any disruption, you will be invincible. So Ravana goes there, and then Ravana does all what is possible to cover this yajna, even without anyone else seeing the smoke from the yajna fire. But somehow the monkeys got wind of it, and then they went there, and they were able to disturb and stop him from completing the yajna. And actually the monkeys went there, and they made all kinds of havoc there, including the Ramayana says, including molesting Mandodari, the wife of Ravana. And Mandodari started yelling out, crying, what kind of husband are you? Because you are letting your ego destroy and also disturb your own wife. And where is your pride? You are a king, and where is your pride? You are not even able to protect me. And that was another insult Ravana had. And Mandodari also says, even now you have a chance to redeem yourself. Go and go to Rama and give Sita back to him, and surrender unto him. But then Ravana said, no, this is my duty. I'm going to fight, and there is no use in me living after causing the deaths of my brothers, sons, and confidence, and so many of my armies. And he also says, if I get killed by Rama, you also jump into the fire, and then do not be a captive one in your enemy's camp. And now goes Rama-Ravana battle. And Rama-Ravana battle was a very fierce one. And in Ramayana it goes into several pages, and then every step of the way you can see a lot of strategic moves and a lot of warfare information is there. And finally Rama's arrow was able to kill Ravana. And there, as I said, there are lots of explanations on the war, the fighting, how the arrows were, and then how he was able to cut every one of his heads, and finally he fell down. And when he fell down, Vibhishana came, and Vibhishana, although he was in the camp of Rama, Vibhishana felt bad because Rama was his elder brother, and Rama asked, do all the rituals, all the final rituals for Ravana. And he was a noble soul. No matter what kind of arrogance he had, he was a noble soul, and because of that, he deserves to be buried with the proper rituals and proper respect. And just before that, before killing Ravana, Rama got some assistance from sage Agastya, and that is where we have the special chanting of Santapana Sagaraya Namo Nama, that Aditya Hridaya mantra, singing what Sri Kumarji did the other day. So after Ravana's burial, or the ritual in which Ravana was cremated, and proper respects were given, and Rama asked Vibhishana to do all the necessary arrangements for disposing or cremating Rama's body. After the war, Rama meets with Sita, and Sita was, the Vanaras Hanuman went to Sita and informed her of the war and how Ravana was killed and all those. And then the Vanaras and Sita came back, and Rama was actually pretending to be outraged, because in Vatmiki Ramayana he says, I came here only to rescue, only to take or only to avenge the kidnapping of my wife, and then I don't have anything to do with you. That was the kind of speech he had at that time with Sita. In Adhyatma Ramayana, Sita voluntarily jumps into fire, and then the fire did not affect her, and then that way she was able to prove her innocence or prove her purity in front of the world, and Rama accepted Sita. And at that time, all the Vanaras and Vanaras were very happy to see Mother Sita. And Indra came, and Indra did a great stuti. Indra extolled the virtues of Lord Narayana, Rama, and then and he also asked Rama to bless these monkeys. What he asked was, you must make the Vanara warriors died in the battle to live again. And also he requested, when the monkeys drink a water, that water must be sweet. They should feel that the water is sweet. And any fruit they bite upon, they should feel that it is sweet. So the Vanaras can eat almost all fruits, and they can drink all kinds of water because of the blessing given by Rama at the behest of Indra. And Lord Shiva came to see Rama, and he was on the sky. And along with Lord Shiva, Dasharatha also came from the Pitraloka. Dasharatha came, and Dasharatha embraced Rama and Lakshmana. He was very pleased with the accomplishment of Rama, his favorite son. Now the time is up for them to travel to Ayodhya. And in Ayodhya, as you know, Bharata was he was counting the days to see Rama return. And Rama knew that he has to be there on the exact day of finishing the 14 years of exile. So he said, right away we have to leave. Then now the Pushpaka Vimana, the aeroplane owned by Ravana, is under the command of Vibhishana. So Vibhishana said, okay, this great Vimana is there, so let us travel to Ayodhya using this Vimana. So number of Rakshasas and Vanaras also got on along with the Sita, Lakshmana and Rama, and then they traveled. And on the way, Rama showed Sita various places below where they did the dike, where they constructed the dike, and where they lived, and where the ashramas of different sages and all those. So Rama was a very good tour guide for Sita, and they flew down to Nandigrama, where Bharata was waiting for Rama to return. And in between, they also stopped in Kishkinda, and Sita said, I know the pang of separation, so bring all the Vanara ladies into this plain, and then let them also come to us to Ayodhya, so that they can join with their husbands. So the Vanara ladies also got into the plain, and then they reached the Nandigramam, where Bharata was keeping Rama's padugas, Rama's sandals, and then Rama's sandals were on the throne, and Bharata was doing all the governance of the country. And as soon as Bharata met Rama, he prostrated in front of Rama, and he gave a very, very small report, and that report was complete in all aspects. What Bharata said was, I have kept your country so prosperous that the army is tenfold, and the storage of weapon storage is also tenfold, and our treasury is full of money. So I have kept your country prosperous and well, and then now it is time for you to take over the country. And then Rama said, yes, I'll do that. I will do the needful for the country. And also he thanked, and also they all got ready to conduct the Abhisheka, Raja Abhisheka for Sri Rama. That is crowning of Rama as the king of Ayodhya, king of Ayodhya. And Hanuman and Bharata, they were Bharata was very happy to see Sugriva also, because Sugriva was instrumental in finding Sita, and also the war was also held properly because of the help with Sugriva and Vibhishana. So they were all given all kinds of gifts. And Bharata also called Sugriva as you are the fifth brother in the family. So they were enthralled. The citizens of Ayodhya was so happy, and they all saw these two victorious princes of their country coming back from Lanka, and the big celebration started to conduct all the coronation of Rama. And the coronation of Rama was witnessed by the celestials and all kinds of sages and the Vanaras and the Rakshasas, and so many people were there gathered. And then the citizens were so happy. And Bharata requested Sugriva to officiate the coronation, because Sugriva was the king of Kishkinda, and they brought water from all different seas, and then conducted the ceremony royally. And Rama blessed Vanaras and also Rakshasas. And Hanuman, he had some difficulty in going away from the presence of Rama, but then he was blessed by Rama as well as by Sita, because Rama gave Sita a big garland made of gold and precious stones, and then asked Sita, "Whom will you give this great mala garland?" She said, "Hanuman is the most worthy of everyone in this gathering." So she gives the great gift to Hanuman, and then everyone leaves, and Rama's kingdom thrives because the Rama was the epitome of dharma, and with dharma everyone behaved with their senses under control, and Rama looked after his subjects as a father would look after his children. And that is the Rama Rajya. That is the ideal kingdom for anyone to even imagine. And that is the beauty of Ramayana, where the Rama Rajya is the hope and expectation for all people who read Ramayana. And there are lots of benefits by reading Ramayana. The results of reading Ramayana is something, and it's a noble scripture narrated by none other than Lord Shiva himself, and that can win over fear of death. And by reading and contemplating on Ramayana, one will attain moksha. And those who want some physical comfort and physical needs, those who want to be wealthy, he will be wealthy. Those who want to beget a son, he will get that. And those who want to be free from afflictions of life, he will get that. And finally, those who want to have moksha, Ramayana is going to give you that. And with that noble words, Lord Shiva narrated the story of Ramayana, and Parvati Devi, Mother Parvati, was so happy listening to this noble story of Rama. And so sang the parrot, and the parrot was so happy having completed the Ramayana. Ramaya Ramachandraya Ramabhadraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Nama. Yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakhanjalim Pashpavari Paripurna Lojanam Marutim Namada Sandagam. Jai Sri Sita Ramachandra Ji ki Jai. Jai Sri Anjaneya Swami Ji ki Jai. Sadguru ki Jai. Hari Om. Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. I want to express my happiness and thank you to all for having listened to me, and excuse me for all the shortcomings, and I submit my few words unto the feet of all the devotees of Rama. Hari Om. Sri Guru Pyo.